Wild Hearts is only a week away, a brand new third-person monster hunting game from the team over at EA Originals. I'm anticipating a fantastic game from what we've got to see so far. I can't wait to jump in, but let's go over everything that we know about the game before launch. Obviously, there's going to be some things that I may not know because I haven't got early access to the game. There's people that are playing the game currently, but we're going to go through everything, what you need to know, so you are caught up before launch. So what is Wild Hearts? Wild Hearts is a third-person monster hunting game set in Azuma, a fantasy world inspired by feudal Japan. It's basically a twist on the hunting genre, giving you technology to fight Kemonos, or the monsters here, and you'll be using a variety of this technology called the Karakuri. The Karakuri can be used in different ways, to aid you in those hunts against the Kemono. The more you hunt, the better the gear you get, the more you progress, and that's pretty much Wild Hearts in a nutshell. Seeing as it's a monster hunter game, we're going to be fighting monsters called the Kemono. They are going to be the main source of where you get your loot from, and they are essentially giant animals that have been infused with nature and have essentially modified themselves over the years in this fantasy world. They have multiple attacks that you're going to have to deal with and can become enraged and go even further into the hunts and cause you a whole lot of problems. You get to see a lot of those multiple attacks in the King Tusk gameplay that we got to see a couple months ago, and there's other various attacks that we've seen in other gameplays. But let's go through the Kemonos, all of the confirmed ones. I'm just going to give a brief description of them. Don't want to go too long with this video. We have the King Tusk, which is a huge boar-like looking Kemono. Then the Golden Tempest, which is a wind-based saber-toothed tiger. Ragtail, big rat boy, pretty simple there. Sap Scourge, which is like a tree squirrel I see when I've looked at the pictures of him. The Lava Back, which is a huge lava gorilla. The Deathstalker, a huge frozen wolf. The Amaterasu, I think that's how it's pronounced, which is like a big phoenix bird. Think of an eagle type deal. The Golden Shard, or the Gold Shard, which I think is really cool. It's a honey badger. I thought it was a hedgehog at first, but it looks like a combination between a honey badger and a hedgehog. And then we also have the Spine Glider, which is like a flying goat. And then the Earthbreaker, which is a huge mountain bear that we've seen glimpses of in other trailers. The developers have gone on record to say there's over 20 different Kemono in the game that you're going to be able to hunt, and they haven't revealed them all yet. We're essentially going to be hunting a bunch of these. A lot of them will probably have elemental effects that will have affinities which tie into weapons and such. But yeah, we'll talk about more of that when the full game launches. Let's jump into the Karakuri. The Karakuri are a useful piece of technology, essentially like building block things that you can use to aid you in your hunts. They'll be used to stun, trap, traverse, and ultimately help you during your hunts. There are 3 types of Karakuri: basic, fusion, and dragon. And I'm also going to list off all the ones that we've got to see so far, because there's a lot of them on the website and also other information that we've found. So let's zoom through those as well. We have the Spring, which is basically a launch pad that you can use for dodging and flanking during your attacks. There's the Flying Vine, which we've got to see in some of the gameplay trailers, which is a zip line essentially that allows you to get around the map easier. I don't know if you can use this in combat. It'd be pretty cool if you could. There's the Bulwark, which is a huge wall that can counter Kemono charges and block incoming attacks, and also could potentially stun them if you do it at the right time. There's a basic crate that you can use to get high ground for aerial attacks. There's torches that you can use in and out of combat, which will allow you to use fire damage and put fire damage onto your weapons. There's the Pounder, which can be placed, which is essentially this huge hammer that can be wound up, and when used at the right time, can stun a Kemono in place. There's the Wind Vortex, which goes with the glider. Essentially, the Wind Vortex can thrust you up into the air, and the glider can be used to combine it and essentially fly around the hunt field or the battlefield whenever you're fighting. There's also the Star Bomb, which is a high attack or higher damaging bomb that you can get from just being able to do it. If you attack it, it will explode sooner, but if you can place a couple of them around a Kemono and they explode, it's going to do big damage. There's also a crossbow which you can use, which shoots regular damage and can distract Kemonos from a distance. There's the chain trap, which is essentially you will fire it and it will pin a chain into the ground. They will be able to break out of it the more that you use them, but it will make the Kemonos immobile for a period, which allows you to do big damage. Then there are a few utility ones, such as the roller, which can be used for traversal. This essentially is like General Grievous's bike that he had in episode 3. That's the thing that I get reminded of. There's the paddle scoop, which can be used for catching fish. There's a training bear, which is basically a practice dummy. There's a hunting tower, which can be set up to look across the hunting grounds, allow you to find the Kemono that you're searching for or other points of interest. And then finally, we have the Celestial Anchor, which essentially allows you to close the gap using celestial threads against the Kemono. And then the Celestial Cannon, which uses all of these celestial threads in the area to do a massive amount of stun damage. I'm sure players will get very, very creative with the Karakuri, allowing them to absolutely destroy the Kemono and be super efficient. And there seems like a couple of things in here which I already have ideas of using if we are going to be going into them, especially if there's things that are in the air, using like chain traps to pin them down for a moment. Then that is going to be something that I use and many other players will use as well. A lot of information already, but let's go through the weapons in the game, because the weapon system is fairly simple but also fairly complex at the same time. Each weapon in the game will have multiple combo strings that you can go through, made up of 2 standard attacks and a special attack. Attack number 1 is usually going to be a basic attack given to any given weapon, and then there's attack number 2, which is more of a high-powered, so kind of light and heavy attacks thing. And then there's the special attack, which is unique to each weapon. This can extend combo strings or empower combos as well. Each of the weapons will also have different ways that you use them. I'm going to go through them all here. The special attacks and the stamina system in the game is used for dodging and also using the stamina, so you have to manage that when you are going up against the Kemonos. And each weapon will be crafted differently to have different elements, so you can craft more than one, so you can have like 3 or 4 katanas with different elemental affinities, or you can go with no affinity and have a little bit higher overall power. But let's rattle through all of the weapons. First of all, we have the classic katana. Close range attack number 1 is going to be light strikes. Attack number 2 is high power strikes, and special attacks will allow you to extend combos. And when the weapon gauge is full, the katanas will do enhanced damage. Next up, we have the Nadachi, which is a heavy close ranged weapon. Attack number 1 is usually high powered attacks that swing upward. And then the attack number 2 is allowing you to do slicing attacks while you are running around, and also just you'll do more slicing attacks. And then there's a special attack, which is a charge gauge essentially, and this will allow you to do even more high power attacks, and you can press it while you're running to do it more slowly, or you can do it while you're standing still to charge it super fast. If you're a fan of range stuff, that we have bows, or this specific instance of the bow allows you to put it in 2 different stances, horizontal and vertical, each allowing different effects, such as buffing your damage, or being able to lodge them into the Kemono, or you're able to deal more damage when you are using it in, say, the horizontal stance compared to the vertical. Then the special attack will allow you to use a volley of shots which will continually fire, or you can hold it down and have a charge attack which will do a little bit more damage as well. The next weapon is a little bit more of a weird one, but I like it. It's called the Bladed Wagasa, which is a close range weapon that's an umbrella. This can parry things, so it has a lot of quick attacks that can go into aerial attacks, being that it's this umbrella. But the cool thing about it is that the special attack that you use, if you parry with this weapon, you fill up a Renmai gauge, which will allow you to do more damage. So yeah, I think this is a really cool weapon, especially being that this is like a umbrella essentially, and I like what I'm seeing. For more long-range attacks, you can go with the cannon. Essentially, this will have 2 gauges, a heat gauge and a celestial threads, and essentially you will be building up those gauges and making sure that you don't overheat. The special attack will fire out the shot. Attack number 1 allows you to put a base down, which refills your gauge, and then attack number 2 allows you to fire a base at the enemies, aka the Kemono, and that will allow you to also fill up your gauges as well. If you're a fan of light attacks, the claw blade might be for you because it's going to be very good in the air for quick movements. Attacking with number 1 allows you to do swift attacks, and then attack number 2 is more of a adjustment, so it allows you to get around the kimono a lot easier, or you can just do things when you're in the air because this is mainly focused on being quick and also aerial attacks. You can build up the claw gauge and press your special attack to pierce the target, which also attaches into the kimono, and then you can essentially do more damage from there. So it's just a very high mobility style weapon. The last two that we have is the Karakuri staff and the maul. First of all, the Karakuri staff is mainly a universal weapon. It has this really neat effect where if you do damage with it and you use a special attack in combination with a regular attack, and it gives you a lot of different mutations. You can have a giant longsword that comes out of it, or you can have a pike. And there's a couple of different options. I won't go through all of these, but yeah, I think this is a really cool and a neat idea. The final weapon we have though is the maul. Big, slow, high power though. Attack number 1 hits with high impact. Attack number 2 is more high mobility, so it's a bit different to the Nodachi, and its special attack will essentially do a big swinging in a circle, and it'll allow you to destroy Karakuri. It will also allow you to do a bunch of damage to the kimonos. I don't know if there's any more weapons in the game, but damn, that's a lot of information to take in, and I will probably be playing the katana to start out just because I think it's just a very simple and basic weapon and I can get used to it. And then potentially I might go into the bladed wagasa because I like the sound of that, and also maybe the Karakuri staff, kind of a universal style thing. So let me know what you think of the weapons down below in the comment section. Which one are you choosing? The world of Azuma is pretty cool. It's inspired by feudal Japan. There's going to be a couple of different regions that are inspired by the 4 seasons. So winter, summer, spring, autumn. And these are where all of the kimono are going to live. And you essentially go into those regions and start the hunts. And there's going to be a lot of exploring. You're going to be gathering resources in those areas to be able to help you. And you're going to be doing a lot of the gameplay loop, which is hunt, get your crafting materials to be able to make the weapons and make yourself stronger, progress forward, continue beating more kimonos, etc, etc. The main monster hunting style loop. For the systems and launch details, let's tell you what you need to know. It's going to be on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and then the PC stores, most likely Steam, Epic Game Store, and then also I think it's on EA Origin as well. And the great thing about this is that it's fully cross-play, so it doesn't matter where you buy this, you'll still be able to play with your friends regardless of the platform. As for pricing, there's 2 different editions. There's the Karakuri edition, which is the more expensive one, which is roughly around £80. I'm not too sure how much that equates to in dollars, so roughly around the same. And then there's the standard edition, which is £60. The only real difference is that you get an extra armor set from the Karakuri edition, or if you pre-purchase the game as well, it helps if you do that. The most important part to remember is a couple of different release dates. So the first release date is going to be the 17th of February, which is next Friday, which is the official release date, I believe. And then there's one on the 16th of February for the PC version of the game, and that is on Steam from what I've seen. But there's an even earlier release date, which gives you a 10-hour trial if you are part of the EA Play subscription. If you have it as part of Game Pass Ultimate, which you should have if you own that, you will be able to have a 10-hour trial on the 13th, which is on Monday, so a couple of days away. Damn, that's a lot of information to take in. Hopefully it was condensed down enough. There's a lot more nuance and extra details that I could have gone into, but we're reaching around about 14-15 minutes on this video. I'm excited to see what this has when a new take of the monster hunting genre. I'm probably going to make some videos on it and use up that 10-hour trial, and if people are interested in the game, I'll continue playing it, but I'm very, very busy over the next couple of weeks. But I'm excited to jump in and try something new and fresh from the beginning. It's the right art style for me. I love the different weapons. I love the kimono art style as well, and the gameplay is something I want to get my hands on and see if I enjoy it and continue to play it in future. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video and it has been helpful, please make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe if you're new, and turn on the notification bell to be updated when I bring out more content. As always, this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.